Good evening, everyone. John Childress with Simi Valley Paranormal back with another video for you guys. This week we're going to be talking about equipment, and we're going to be talking about the equipment that I use, not what everybody uses, and we're going to let you decide on your own what you want to use. A couple quick things before I get into this video. It may be a little long, but what I wanted to talk about was two things. If it seems like I stumble over words a little bit, that's because I do not script anything. I figure if I was going to script it, I might as well just type it up and put it on the Facebook or on the page, and you could look at it yourself. I ran for public office. I got a reputation of never writing my speeches. I made them all up as I went along. Just easier for me. And the second thing is, I talked about why science doesn't take parapsychology serious. There was a time, and there may still be, I don't know for sure, but you could actually get a degree in parapsychology from a university. But one of the reasons science doesn't take it seriously, and I tried to explain this to somebody the other day, is that for science to believe in something, you have to be able to repeat your results, and you have to be able to repeat it over and over and over and get the same results every time. You know, you catch an EVP 1 out of every 20 hours of audio. That's just not enough for science. You can't make a ghost come on command. You can't make, things just happen over and over and over, especially in a controlled environment, such as a lab. It would be very hard to do that. Even with ESP, there's a pretty good chance just guessing is going to get your numbers up there fairly high. So again, that's one of the reasons it's so important to not really get down on mainstream science. It's just, it doesn't work to their parameters, So anyway, so let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the equipment, and we'll jump right into that. Okay, first piece of equipment in my case is EMF, a K2 EMF meter. EMF stands for electromagnetic field. It's believed that this is what spirits put off when they're in the presence. The thing about this piece of equipment is that I catch a lot of guff now for using it because it's just not the thing. And it's funny that the people that I started with all used one of these, and now they're poo-pooing them. So I use it. How it works is if you get it near an electrical device, it'll start lighting up, and how high up the colors get is how much of a reading it's getting. Starts at green, obviously, and works its way up to red. The thing about this meter is you have to know your area that you're working in. We were doing an investigation one time on a property that had a cell tower on it, and I went outside, and I wasn't thinking about it originally, and the meter just kept pegging and pegging and pegging, and I thought, wow, this is pretty wild. Then I realized where I was. I went back inside. It's not doing anything. I came back outside, started pegging again. Crap. So I talked about things not being right. After that, I couldn't trust the meter again that night to use it for anything. So again, you have to know your surroundings and pay attention to what's going on around you. Okay, this is an infrared laser thermometer. I have one of these. It's great for checking room temperatures and surface temperatures. People will say, I feel a cold spot over here, point the gun at it, and you should get a reading of colder than the room around it. Before you just start pointing it at stuff, though, you kind of have to get a baseline. So, point it at an interior wall, see what the baseline reading is. Point it at an exterior wall, it's going to be a little different. Point it at a window, it's going to be a little different. So when somebody says they feel a cold spot, and you point it at the window and the temperature drops 10 degrees, doesn't necessarily mean there's a spirit there. It just means it could be a leaky window. So again, I use this. And one of the things is I buy a lot of my stuff at Harbor Freight. I know what Harbor Freight is. I'm in the trades. I work with tools. I have very high dollar tools. This stuff doesn't need to be expensive. A $99 digital thermometer. If I was trying to find hot spots in a wall for somebody for an electrical problem, yeah, I might spend the $99, but for ghost hunting, I'm not going to. This here is a digital voice recorder. This is actually the one I use. It's just nice because it's compact, it's small, it's lightweight, and so I use it. And again, you have to know what's going on in the room. We were on an investigation in an old building and had old wood floors on it, and we went to play back something, and we thought we heard a gunshot, and it was like, wow, that was kind of interesting. And then we listened to it a couple times. We kept hearing a gunshot, so we started playing around with it. And I started thinking about what was going on, so we hit record again. I backed a chair up on this hardwood floor, and when we played it back, it sounded like a gunshot. In real life, it sounded like a chair sliding across the hardwood floor. So, again, and I actually have an extra microphone I put on that. It's an omnidirectional microphone. I plug into the microphone hole to just pick up more than just the little bit you see on the side there. Dowsing rods. I was never much of a believer in those until I made myself a pair. This is not my pair, but I do have wooden handles on mine, so I cannot touch the rods. I can't influence the rods in any way. And in a yes/no situation, questioning spirits, those things will be flying around. I've had them point at people. I've had them spin uncontrollably where I couldn't get them to stop. It's kind of interesting. I've walked outside. I found my water line with them. Again, I never thought that there was much to it. I mean, I knew about dowsing and witching, but again, they work for me. Some people can't make them work at all. So, they're just cheap. They're easy to make. I made mine out of a couple pieces of dowel. And again, I'm an electrician, so I just bent over some number 12 copper wire. And like I said, they work great. This is another device I use. This is not a digital tape recorder, but this is an actual tape recorder. I use it because a gentleman I learned from says that he thinks the magnetic tape may pick up more, so I actually use both versions. My wife has one, so just like this. They're kind of hard to come by. The tapes are a little hard to come by. The funny thing is I get the tapes at one of the pharmaceutical stores. CVS or one of those, and the recorders you can get off of eBay. You can get them fairly cheap, or even Amazon. I think you can get some. Going back to this, I'm sorry, I jumped ahead a little bit. I never reuse the tapes though. I don't. You can record over tapes. I use a new one each time. Partially for tracking reasons. The other is that you don't want to, use it over and over and over and maybe get some bleed through on one of the old recordings. A plumb bob. I carry one of these in my kit also. I don't really use it. I bring it more as a demonstration. I can hang that from a string and I can make it spin and stop and change directions and do all kinds of things, and it looks like I never moved my hand. I have used it over maps, and it has done some interesting things. We were looking for a lost person one time. So again, I don't really use it. I carry it, again, just as another tool. There might be somebody else that knows how to work it better than I do. But like I said, I know I can influence it. It's an old parlor trick that I learned from my dad years and years ago. And you can do anything hanging off a chain or a string and make it spin circles. Just think really hard, spin right, spin right, spin right, and it'll start spinning. Tell it to get bigger circles, and the circles will get bigger. Tell it to stop in reverse direction, and it'll do that. So you got to be kind of careful with the plumb bob. Laser pointer. I have one of these in my tool kit. That exact one, as a matter of fact. It's good to have just in your pocket, so when you're in a dark building and somebody says, "Did you see that?" and you say, "Where?" If they ask you where, you can just shine the laser pointer over there, and it will point out, places that, because depending on how dark it is, you can't see anybody. So anyway, the laser pointer is just another tool. They actually make laser grids that are not a whole lot bigger than that. You set them up on a tripod, it'll set a grid. If you video camera it, then you can see any shadows that pass by it or anything like that. Digital camera. Again, this is the one I use. The better camera is not going to get you any different pictures than the cheapy ones. I use the digital format, and it's nice because you can go home, stick the chip in the computer, download it, get rid of the pictures you don't like, keep the pictures you do. I keep all of them just for reference, and again, it's a nice little tool to have. And when you're using this, again, I think I talked about this a little bit last week. Take pictures. I don't know why. Sometimes I'll get this sense of, I should take a picture of that corner, and I just take a picture of the corner. If there's something in it, that's interesting. If there's not, that's okay. But take a lot of pictures. Get yourself the biggest card you can put in your camera, and that'll help you out tremendously. And you might just catch something by accident. Batteries. Lots and lots of batteries. I carry a whole bunch of AA's and AAA's in my box. It does not happen to me. A gentleman I go with, every piece of equipment he has will drain. He has put new batteries in. I've watched him put them in his car. We go in and his tape recorder's not working 20 minutes later. Again, I don't, it doesn't seem to happen to me, but it happens to him almost every time we go out. He runs out. So bring extras with you. Pen and a notebook. It's good for taking notes. If you have an Ovilus or you're running an Ovilus program of some sort, it's nice to have this. You can write down what you heard, make notes. Then you can either ask questions of somebody later if they know the history of the place, or again, it's just an important tool to have. If you're doing video, you might mark down, check such and such a time on the video. But I keep a pad of paper and a pen in my kit. Painter's tape. Sounds silly, and people ask me why I have it. We were doing an investigation. This is actually the same one with the cell site that had a pool table, and one of the things was they heard pool balls bouncing around at night. So what we did was I took the cue ball and 3 or 4 other balls. I take a little piece of painter's tape. I put it on the felt, set the cue balls on top of it. That way you'll know if they moved or not. If you just put them there without any marking or any reference, then you start wondering, well, did it really move? I don't remember where it was, things like that. So again, it's great. It comes off real easy. It's cheap. A roll like that will last you forever because you really don't need a lot, just a little piece to mark whatever it is you're wanting to mark. This is an infrared flashlight. Again, this is the one I have. Again, it's from Harbor Freight. It was like $9, maybe cheaper. I might have got it for like $4 or something on one of their coupons. I don't know for sure what it will do. I use it, and it works better in the dark than shining really bright lights on stuff. It will light everything up in a little bit of a blue light. If you live in the desert, it's kind of cool. You light up scorpions. You can spot scorpions in the desert with it and stuff. So, because they'll glow for some reason. But anyway, I have that in my kit also. Good flashlight. This isn't the exact one I have, but I have one pretty much like this one. Just to have, you're going to go places, depending on where you're going, there's not going to be any power, lights are going to be off. You're investigating an old warehouse or something that doesn't have power or whatever it is. Have a good flashlight, and make sure you have batteries for it. This flashlight is rather expensive. I go out to the desert just enough to need a good light, and the batteries are special batteries, and they're expensive. So again, you don't need one of these. You can buy a good quality flashlight again at Harbor Freight, Lowe's. Nice LED flashlight, fairly cheap. Spirit box. This is not my spirit box, but mine looks a lot like this one. I won it at a raffle. It was made by a gentleman in our group, and I use it. Basically what it'll do is it runs through the frequencies. You can set how quickly it goes or how slowly it goes, and there'll be a lot of white noise. You'll get a lot of sounds, and then sometimes a voice will come through. He's had people speak to him through his. I haven't had any luck with mine yet, but because it's kind of big, I don't really carry it with me a lot. You can buy a smaller one if you look on eBay again. They're called spirit boxes, and they're actually fairly small, look like a small old transistor radio. Okay, well, that's not all the equipment there is out there. There's a lot of stuff. There's REM pods, which are like a motion sensor. You set them out. They have a bunch of lights on them. Basically, the idea is if something gets close to it, it works like a proximity sensor, and they'll start lighting up. The closer they get, the more it'll light up. There's Ovuluses, which are word generators. I use, again, I wasn't too impressed with it, or didn't think I would be when I first got it. I use Ghost Radar Classic. It's an app you can put on your phone. Everybody thinks it's the game. I've had it do some pretty good hits. I know some other people that have had good luck with it. Other guys will laugh at you if you're carrying it, so that's up to you. One of the guys has teddy bears. You could put out, like, if you think there's a child in the room, and it also has, like the REM pod, it will light up if something gets close to it. There's energy generators that'll help bring in the spirits. Spirits need energy to manifest. That's why you'll lose your batteries a lot of times. But so this energy generator gives them some energy to come through. And again, there's a host of things. You can go on eBay. You can actually buy kits. They'll have the EMF meter, maybe the Ovilus, a couple other things. Oviluses used to be really cheap. Now, I say really cheap. They're $40 or $50. My wife is going to buy me one for Christmas. She looked them up. They'd gone up to almost $200. It's getting a little ridiculous, because everybody's into the ghost hunting. And so the price of the equipment has gone up exponentially. And again, Harbor Freight can be your friend. You can buy a lot of stuff over there fairly cheap and not have to break the bank. So anyway, that's the stuff I carry. What I do carry, again, at Harbor Freight, I got a case for it. It's a hard-sided aluminum case with the foam inserts. I just cut out a spot for each piece of equipment. I started in one corner, kind of worked my way out. If I fill it, I'll either buy a bigger case or another one. And again, I keep cords in there for the chargers for the for the tape recorder, or not the tape recorder, the digital recorder, and I keep a cord in there for the my digital phone, so I can charge it if I have to, if there's a place to charge it. And again, that's pretty much all I have in there. So pretty much everything you see is what I have. Some guys will have a lot more equipment. Some guys bring huge cameras. I've got guys that have infrared cameras. I've got guys that have full spectrum cameras, which would be a beautiful thing to have. There's some guys that'll set up their computers to do kinetic. Basically, if there's a spirit in the room, it'll show like the form of a body. Again, I've heard goods and bads about that. I haven't really tried it and looked into it too much, but what I did look into is, again, they have their believers and their non-believers. So again, we'll stay on investigations a little bit. So bring a jacket with you. You never know when the weather's going to change on you. Bring a raincoat with you if you think you're going to be outside for a while. Women, I know you love thongs. Do not wear them on an investigation. I mean, if you're going to somebody's house and just walking around the house, maybe. But flip-flops have no place in an old warehouse or an old cemetery or any place like that. Dress appropriately. Again, pay attention to the weather. Shorts may be okay. I wear pants most of the time. Boots whenever I'm out wandering around too much in the dark. Good for ankle support and keeps things from nipping you in the ankles. So that again, I wear sometimes just a light long sleeve t-shirt or something like that. Just again, dress appropriately. It's no fun to go out and try to have fun and then have it ruined because you didn't bring a coat or whatever. Okay, that's it for today. Next week, I'll figure something out. I got some pictures I can show. I think I'll do that. So next week will probably be orbs and some other photographs I have, and we'll talk about that a little bit. And until then, hey, you guys all have a great weekend, and take care of yourselves and have a spooktacular October. Have a good one.